Good evening. Welcome to this forum for the Jackson County Executive and the first, second, and third at-large Jackson County legislative districts. It is sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Kansas City, Jackson, Clay, and Platte counties. I am Tommy Sexton, and I'm a member of this league. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization. We neither screen nor endorse candidates. Our mission is to empower voters and to defend our democracy. We envision a democracy where every citizen has the knowledge, the right, and the desire and the competence to participate. Our membership is open to everyone. We are here for this voter education event to provide an opportunity for you to ask questions and listen as the candidates present their positions. Voters have submitted questions via email at forumquestions@leagueofwomenvoters.org. All of the candidates running for these offices, which include 8, have been invited to participate in our forum tonight. Each term is for 4 years. There are 3 candidates participating in tonight's forum, and we welcome and appreciate the following candidates. Jalen Anderson, a Democrat for the 1st District at large. Donna Peyton, a Democrat for the 2nd District at large, and John Murphy, a Republican for the 2nd District at large. I'd like you to know the other league members volunteering with me tonight. Our timekeeper is Elizabeth Darr. Our Zoom board is monitored by Carl Bettis. Our legislative forum coordinator is Anitra Steele. This forum will be recorded and available and archived on the league's webpage at lwvkc.org. The candidates will answer each question in a random order that I have already shared with the candidates. Each will have 90 seconds to respond to the questions. Candidates, please answer the question asked, stick to the topic. There will be no rebuttals, but you can go back to an issue during your closing remarks, for which you are allotted 2 minutes. So let us begin. First question. And tonight, we will start with Donna Peyton. Could you speak briefly about why you are running for the Jackson County Legislature and what particular experiences or skills have prepared you for this office, including any background with money and finance?
Thank you so very much. Let me begin by saying it is such a pleasure to be here. I am running because I have a heart and desire to serve the people of Jackson County. I currently serve as a school board director for the Raytown School Board, and that has ignited something in me. I knew it was there because I've served in other capacities as the outreach director for Convoy of Hope, various leadership roles within my church and on different committees. So when I ran for the school board, my #1 goal was to serve, just as it is now, to serve. That second reason is to have a voice that will be a voice. When I ran for school board, I wanted to represent those single moms, being a single mom myself, that never knew the power that their voice has and how important it is to be involved. And with Jackson County, I want to be a voice for the entire county, making sure that I carry that voice into the meetings, into my day-to-day life. And I feel that I'm equipped because of my service and my heart to serve.
Thank you. John Murphy.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this. This is a great opportunity for people in Jackson County to learn about the choices for the legislature and the county executive. My reason for running over the last 10, 12 years, very concerned about the process for tax assessments and the taxing of people's homes and properties. I've served on a homes association board for close to 20 years in my neighborhood. And over the last 10 years, I've been down to the county numerous times, particularly helping the older people in their neighborhood who have to pay these enormous tax hikes. 2019 was a disastrous year tax assessment wise. We're hearing 2023 is going to be an even worse year. I want to put a stop to it. I want to make sure that people aren't taxed out of their homes. I want to make sure that families can stay in their homes. My background, volunteering in my neighborhood, helping people with the Homes Association, whetted my appetite for public service in terms of finance and business background. I worked on Wall Street, and I've also worked in Main Street. I've got skills. I've got management skills. I understand balance sheets. I understand how things work, and I've always gotten things done. And I'd like that opportunity to serve the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Jalen Anderson.
Well, I'd like to, again, thank everyone, and especially the League of Women Voters for this opportunity. It's wonderful to see everyone again, and of course, the new faces. I'd like to thank the two other candidates who are running this evening. My name is Jalen Anderson. I serve currently as the 1st District at Large for Jackson County. I was elected back in 2018. And the reason why I'm running is the same reason why I ran in the first place. I believe that Jackson County has a great opportunity as we look towards the next 10 years, next 20 years, about what we can accomplish. I was raised by a single mother. I was raised by my 2 grandparents. All of them belonged to a union, had belonged in different parts of government throughout their lives. But more importantly, they believed that local government and government has a place to make life easier and opportunity focused for all peoples. In my background, I've worked for several nonprofits, mainly the Rockefeller Foundation, where I was a director for anti-poverty programs with a budget of well over $127 million. With that, we were able to reach over 30 states to fight poverty. That's been my focus here at Jackson County. It will continue to be. I think that we have a great opportunity as we move forward over the next 4 years. And I hope that we can bring more people together. Many like to talk about the tax assessment, but we have to talk about what is our relationship with the state of Missouri. So I ask that we all work together as we look towards this next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Second question. There will be required changes and upgrades to the Chiefs Stadium for the 2026 World Cup. What is your opinion about how much of these expenses should be shouldered by Jackson County? And we will start first with John Murphy.
I'm very concerned about what promises were made to the international soccer group that told them they could come here and we're going to make some upgrades. Yeah, that stadium is a great place to see a game. It's in pretty good shape. If it's good enough for the Chiefs, it ought to be good enough for a bunch of soccer guys. What I'd like to point out is the people of Jackson County are very generous, very kind, but we're overburdened right now with all the taxes that we're getting hit with, all the development downtown, all the abatements downtown, streetcar, the water bill is out of control, and now something else. I would like to take a hard look at this, and maybe it's the soccer federation that should be kicking in $50 million. That's my 2 cents. I don't think it should be the taxpayers of Jackson County. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Jalen Anderson, please.
Well, when the county was chosen, when Kansas City was chosen, I was elated because of the amount of focus that it will bring to our area. This is something that many of us did not even expect, especially on the international scale of what the soccer and FIFA will bring to our community. For Jackson County and Kansas City will have the majority focus on finding the funds. The county, a lesser so partner in this. So it is not directly just Jackson County that has to figure out funds. We have, I know the county is working with the state and with the Kansas City and our local municipalities on finding ways to make sure that the Chiefs Stadium Arrowhead is ready for those games in the coming years. I think what's important that we remember is that the differences between a soccer game and a football game, those are the main focuses, and the amount of international travel that will come to Kansas City and Jackson County. What I will say is I do not intend to spend or raise or vote for any raise of taxes for this games, for FIFA. But I will say that I think that it's important that we do show an investment, especially because the amount of individuals who will be coming to our area for the very first time. So I look forward to working with my colleagues for those games. Thank you.
Thank you. Donna, Peyton?
Thank you. I agree. We have entered into a partnership to bring the World Cup Series here in 2026. I view it as quite an honor, but foremost, I view it as a partnership. I am against tax increases, but I am for us being the best hosts that we possibly can be. When they come in 2026, historically, we know that they're not coming just for the games. They will be in Kansas City. They will be traveling throughout the Midwest because they're not going to come to the country and stay 2 days and go home. So we will definitely benefit from the people that are coming. We will definitely benefit from the spotlight on Kansas City. And we will definitely benefit from being a part of this wonderful international event. I look forward to it. I will work to do whatever I can to ensure there are no tax increases. And I'm excited about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Third question. There have been many complaints about uneven or unfair assessment for real estate taxes for Jackson County. How would you address those concerns as a county legislator? And we will start with Jalen Anderson.
Thank you. So in my first term, that was when I began in 2018, 2019 assessments were right front and center as we moved into a very first term. And this is my first time running for office in any type of way. The problem there was the old setup of how we assessed taxes in the past. And the issue is that the county executives before the current county executive never raised property taxes in any which way, shape, or form to meet the different percentages that are required by the state. But what I do think is very important as we go through this conversation is that this has to do with the amount of TIFs that are given out from the TIF Commission, which Jackson County only has 2 members. Kansas City has majority. It also depended on what the state will work with our county on sharing different amount of taxes and initiatives and grants. But we should not go through what we did in 2019. That is why, along with my colleagues, that we passed different amounts of monies and programs to try to fix what had happened in 2019. Also, what we've been pushing for is that the Board of Equalization will be able to be more open and honest with folks. But we will be working with the state tax commission, and that is my main focus in this next 4 years.
Thank you. Donna, Peyton.
Moderator, could you please repeat the question?
Yes.
Please?
There have been many complaints about uneven and unfair assessment for real estate taxes for Jackson County. How would you address those concerns as a county legislator?
First of all, as I've mentioned before, the voice of the community is so important to me. And there is an appeal process that our residents have been able to utilize, and many have received very favorable responses. I am concerned with working with the state tax commission as well. I am a school board member. So another concern are TIFs, but there's also the concern that Jackson County does have money to operate its schools, to operate its fire districts, to operate the metropolitan community colleges. But I don't want that to be at the risk of anyone losing their homes. I want to be that voice, and in doing so, I would work with our seniors to let them know that we have a program, a payment plan program for those that are 65 and older. No one wants to see real estate taxes, as well as myself, continually increase. But when you work to remedy a problem, you can't ignore that there was a problem. We have to make sure that we consistently assess properly and that we give our residents an opportunity to have programs in place where they can keep their homes, in particular, those in that are on fixed and low income. Thank you.
John Murphy.
Thank you. As I said earlier, 2019 was a disastrous year for many in the county tax assessment wise. I'm going door to door all over the district, basically countywide, and that is what I'm getting on people's doorsteps. They're very upset about it, and I've got a solution. We have got to put a cap on these assessments. For retired seniors, I want to put a cap, an absolute cap that the year they retire, they lock into that rate, and it's their rate to leave one way or another. For everyone else, no more, no giant assessments. Every 2 years you get assessed, you've got a cap of 5%. That will protect seniors, that will protect families. 2019, once the assessments came in and the bills went out, the only person that could have said these are utterly ridiculous assessments was Frank White. He declined to do so. I don't think he'll do it in 23. It's a problem. So this needs to get done, needs to get fixed. And that's what I plan on doing once elected to the legislature. That's essentially it.
Thank you. Question number 4. If Amendment 3 passes in November in the state, it would legalize marijuana in Missouri for people over 21. This would greatly decrease arrests for drug possession in Jackson County. It's over half of the arrests now for drug use possession has to do with marijuana. How might this affect law enforcement in the county, and what might be the unintended consequences? And we're going to start with John Murphy. I'm sorry, Donna Peyton.
Thank you. If Amendment 3 is legalized, I do believe that criminalization of marijuana will also increase. I believe that as it stands now, people are able to obtain licenses for medical marijuana. I think that it's going to be a market that will be only for large corporations or large businesses. It will push those smaller businesses out. And, you know, it's on the ballot because we want the public and the residents to have a voice. We want them to vote. I want them to be educated on all that the amendment is speaking to. I want them to read it. I want them to understand it, attend forums where you can learn more about it and make your vote an informed vote. As far as our police department right now, as you said, it's one of the most highly prosecuted or drugs or marijuana receives more arrests. And that is a concern. It's a concern for manpower, of course. Thank you.
Thank you. John Murphy.
I think any legalization of any drugs making it more plentiful on the street can be problematic, especially to our youth. I want to make sure that people are educated what they're voting on. They understand what that entails. I want to make sure that marijuana is not a hard drug. It is not something that you can really overdose on, but I think long-term, it's problematic to the minds, especially younger kids. I don't want to see that made more available. I also am worried about larger companies coming in and being able to push products like a Philip Morris of the marijuana world. So I think people need to be very educated on what exactly they are voting for that amendment.
Thank you. Jalen Anderson.
The amendment has different parts of the language itself that are very problematic for me, even though I am for legalization, and more importantly, that we take care of the charges for those who had nonviolent arrests or those who were not found to be just to be dealing. I think it's more important that if you've been caught necessarily with marijuana in your car and it was a small amount, that you should have your record cleaned from that. It's affected too many. I know in the Black community, Hispanic community, all of our communities has faced challenges through the war on drugs that has become a failure over the past 40 years. Now, speaking to this amendment, I do not believe that we should allow, as many of the other two tonight has mentioned, the large amount of corporations coming in. I believe that we should have a more focused, more local control. I would hope that when we passed medical marijuana, the county itself had the ability to hand out the different requests and the different licenses for marijuana. I would hope that that would be a local control so that we can work with our sheriff's departments and our local police departments to figure out what is best and enact new programs that can not only teach and for our police departments, but the public as well.
Thank you. Our next question. Please describe your thoughts about investing county money in a regional transit system that might connect parts of the county with the Kansas City system, including streetcar connections. And we'll start with John Murphy.
I have no problem with having a regional transportation system. We already have one, Kansas City Area Transportation Authority. If we can expand that system with buses, that's a great idea, particularly for people who can't afford cars, which are very expensive. And for people just starting out, cars are also a big expense. But the streetcar at $100 million a mile, I don't think so. I keep reading about this economic boon it's bringing to Midtown, but at what cost? The city has been bearing the cost of the streetcar in the water department, and the water rates are skyrocketing. And that is hurting mostly the poor in Kansas City. That has to be brought to light and fixed. Now, again, having buses, which can run on any road, is a great idea. So I wouldn't have any problem creating a better regional transit system with buses, but not streetcars. Thank you.
Thank you. Jalen Anderson.
The issue has been, I believe for many years, is that that buses are not the best way of transportation. I think that as we move into the generation now of electrifying cars and the ability to have even hydrogen to be used in cars, I think that we can look towards safer and cleaner energy buses. I also believe that we should look at a real rail system and a real program to have infrastructure built so that folks don't have to use their cars or don't have to buy a car or whatever that might be. But the issue is that the streetcar itself is not a way for a majority of Kansas Cityans, a majority of those who can afford a vehicle. That has not been made to help those individuals. Yes, it's going to be expanding. That's wonderful. As long as Jackson County residents don't have to pay for that and the county doesn't have to pay for that, and it's focused on Kansas City, that's fine. But I will only vote and support and advocate for a real transit system, something that is useful, something that will get people downtown more quickly, something that will make sure that we don't have to end up polluting our different parks and our air. But it's clear, though, it is very, very clear that we have to have a real conversation about transportation, but not in the way that it is set up currently.
Thank you. Donna Peyton.
Thank you. I am certainly for a regional transit system. I am concerned that that system does have far-reaching opportunities for people to leave their cars at home and travel on local transportation to get to work or to get downtown or to get to the stadium. I am a proponent of that for many reasons, in particular our environment and in particular our infrastructure. Having more cars on the road is never a solution in maintaining a sound infrastructure. I am also concerned when it comes to transportation that that transportation that we use is feasible and friendly with the environment. And as we move closer and closer to electric vehicles and hydrogen powered vehicles, it is very important that the city works to make sure that we are adhering to and being that example for all of those that are also using transportation. My time is up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Next question. Please describe in detail the role the county legislature should take to influence or be involved or support the upcoming decisions to move either the Royals or the Chiefs from where they are now. And we will start with Jalen Anderson.
I think it's key that the Jackson County Legislature be at the forefront of this discussion. The county itself takes care of both of our stadiums. It is not Kansas City. It is not the state. It is Jackson County's property. The issue is that moving this downtown and the talk of this moving it downtown is going to cost an extraordinary amount of money, an extraordinary amount. The county itself does not have the funds for it. We have to realize that we have to be fiscally responsible as we move forward over the next 4 years, over the next 10 years. And in all honesty, if the Royals want a new stadium, then they can pay for it. If the Chiefs want a new stadium, they can pay for it. Now, if they would like upgrades and work with the county, work with the people of Jackson County to upgrade the current stadiums, that's fine. But do not expect taxpayer money to build new stadiums, because if we allow that, not only will it send our region into a fiscal debt, but we will never be able to truly have a strong financial basis to get bonds, to get grants from the federal government, the state government. So we have to be very careful, and it is very important that the Jackson County Legislature take a front seat focus and direction in these discussions as we move forward over the next 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Donna Peyton.
Thank you. I stand with Jalen. I believe that if the stadiums want to move, then the stadiums should be responsible for that move. I appreciate what Jackson County has done when it comes to the stadiums. I am in agreement that we should make sure that our stadiums are updated and well kept and maintained. I was a bit surprised yesterday with the announcement from Sherman that perhaps the Royals are looking at moving downtown as early as 2026. And I certainly understand his reasoning behind that. And hopefully he will work with the city and the county prior to making any commitments on a 2026 move. But it is my hope as a Jackson County legislature that we do everything we can to make sure that our residents have access, our visitors from out of town have access to quality stadiums. And I will work for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. John Murphy.
Thank you. If the Royals and the Chiefs want to move elsewhere, the best of luck to them. It's been a great time here in Kansas City. Now, if they want to stay, let's work with them. The stadiums are in a great location. They have great access from all over the region. There's plenty of parking. People can get in quickly, get out quickly, and they're in relatively great shape. Now, if they want to move downtown or they want to move somewhere else, that should be on them. We've got enough to pay for here. And we've got two great stadiums, great places to see a game, and it's historic. And I hope they stay. As a county legislator, I would work hard to keep them here in those spots, enhance the area around the stadium, make it more friendly. There's no hotels nearby. Maybe there's something we can do in getting hotels. We seem to have an awful lot of hotels going up all over Kansas City, just none by the stadium. Anyway, long story short, I think that they should stay where they are. If they want to leave, then it's up on them, and the taxpayers of the county should not and cannot afford to pay for that. That's it.
Thank you. Next question. The county legislature votes on a variety of expenditures. Most votes are held without public discussion, even when millions of dollars are involved. This is true for the committee meetings as well. Do you support including an open explanation and discussion of most ordinances and resolutions? And if so, why? Or if not, why not? And we'll start with Donna Payne.
I am a proponent of open communications with the public. Now, when it comes to budget decisions and final budget decisions, I am so thankful, if elected, that the residents have thought enough of me and believe in me enough to know that I will work in their best interest. As a school board member, I appreciate our parents, our community that believe that we will do the right thing. And if we don't, trust they will let us know. But as with open meetings, everyone is welcome to any of the committee meetings. The meetings are open, the meetings are recorded, and the agendas are posted. The public may not know to the extent that they can be involved prior to the meetings. They may not know to the extent that they can share their opinion prior to the vote. And we need to do a better job. If that's the case, we need to do a better job in getting them involved. I don't want anyone to think that we're making decisions in the blind, that we're making decisions that does not have our residents' best interests at heart. We need to do a better job of educating and involving.
Thank you. John Murphy.
There needs to be full transparency at the courthouse. Meetings, agendas, no more backroom dealing. It needs to be public and in the light of day. The way our democracy is preserved is with an active voters and a well-educated voting public. The way that happens is that you have full transparency and voters can actually read up on what your legislators are voting on, understand what they're voting on, and understand the implications of what it is they're voting on. And participation, if you see something you don't like, you should reach out to your legislator or show up before a meeting and talk to them. Get your opinions known. But the only way that happens is if there's full transparency. And the county, like Kansas City, Missouri, there's a little bit of too much things done in the dark. And that needs to stop, and that will stop next year. Thank you.
Jalen Anderson.
Well, first, let me say that every Jackson County legislative meeting should have a time, especially at the end of the meeting, for folks to state what they're worried about, what they're concerned about, and be able to talk to us directly. That is something that has confused me over the past 4 years. And when I've asked my colleagues, they've never seen the reason to actually do it. I will say that is only a small majority of them. The other members have always wanted to have that openness. Sadly, it has not been able to get done. But I think the changes that are coming from those who will be elected on the legislature, we will see great changes of an open government and an honest government. I would like to say, though, that currently the budget committee does have public hearings. The land use committee does have public hearings. But I think one thing that is missing is that during the regular meeting, when we get to that point, when the legislature as a whole is about ready to take a vote, there is not an ability for folks to speak on that issue. What we need to do is stop having meetings at 10 o'clock in the morning on Mondays. Let's move that to the afternoon or early evening. I also believe that the committees themselves should meet, I believe, on Thursdays and just allow committee meetings to take place so you can have public hearings and an open way of dialogue between our constituents and ourselves. And of course, making sure that the agenda and what we are doing is open to everyone and anyone who wants it.
Thank you. Next question. How is Jackson County implementing actions to address climate change? Describe your view of what the county's role should be in the future. And we will start with John Murphy.
Being environmentally friendly is a very important thing. Trash, garbage, waste, cleanup is important. I hear there's a lot of initiatives in the city and county on the environment. I drive around, I see trash everywhere. I don't know how it is they're going to fix global warming or address global warming or even know what global warming is when there's trash everywhere. I'd like to see the county county roads, county parks, and the city do a better job at cleaning up. In terms of environmentally friendly vehicles, more buses that use natural gas. That's clean, that's cheap, and it's plentiful. I keep hearing about electric vehicles. Electric vehicles have an awful lot of problems. We don't have a grid that can support them. And it's probably going to be 25, 30 years before we do. The majority fuel to make power in this region is coal. So the more electric vehicles you have, the more coal you burn. So that's not very environmentally friendly. In addition, car batteries require lithium and copper, and that's an economic disaster in the making. They have to get lithium, to get copper, you've got to do an awful lot of strip mining. That is not environmentally clean. So I'd like to have a real discussion on what global warming is and how we solve it, and come up with some real solutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jalen Anderson.
As we move forward over into this new legislature in the next 4 years, I think it's crucial that we work with our different municipalities, as Mr. Murphy said, is working to make sure that trash is picked up, and that we make sure that we beautify our different highways and roads, not only the county roads, but also municipality roads and state roads. I think that's with the state, with local municipalities, and of course the Jackson County government itself. I believe that it's crucial that we work with different communities and different advocacy groups to clean up our parks. We have one of the most fantastic park system in the Midwest, even in the country. I think it's important that we find a way to get the pollution out of our lakes. There are several different avenues that I have supported and put forward that sadly did not succeed, to make sure that we purify our waters, that we make sure that we invest in our forest, that we make sure that our land is healthy. And the reason why that is needed is because of the recklessness that has gone on for far too long in the state, especially dealing with many of the different digging programs and mining programs that have gone on. I do think we need to start with natural gas and move into electrification and whatever else we can with our vehicles at the county itself. But it's going to take a long time and a progressive focus legislature.
Thank you. Donna Peyton.
Thank you. Jackson County has some incredible green spaces, and we must protect our green spaces. We do need to keep them clean. We do need to make sure that they're being used as they should be used, that people are safe when they go to those green spaces, that there are resources there for them at the parks, at the lake, and that they are clean, that they are maintained. I am for natural gas. I think that our county vehicles need to be using natural gas and eventually go to electric, because we know that's where we're going with our cars as well. I am concerned about how do we help those residents of Jackson County that want to change their homes, that want to make them more environmentally friendly. How do we do that? And that's something that I want to look at, because we have solar panels going up in cooperation with different corporations, including KCPL. But how do we work with our residents to make them have an environment that helps the environment? So many people want to go that way, and I think that we should help them. Thank you.
Okay, this will be your last question before closing remarks. What question do you wish you were asked, and how would you answer it? And we will start with Jalen Anderson.
The question I would have liked to have been asked is that, what are the county's capabilities for the future? And this is how I would answer that. I'd say that the county itself has a great and strong position as we look towards the future. We are the second largest county in our state. That means we are the second largest economic engine for the state. We should be using our position to make sure that we have job growth, job opportunity, growth in our small businesses, making sure that our schools are second to none, making sure that our communities are safe, making sure that no one is left behind in this growth. What we have sadly seen over the past 30 years from not only the state, but also local and also the federal government, it is the lack of investment in our local governments itself. We have to be sure that we use our position currently, not only with this current administration, but future presidential administrations, that this county, that Jackson County, Missouri, has such a great opportunity. The fact that we could have one of the best public universities throughout the country. Let's look at New York. That's how they did it back in the 70s. To look at our lakes and our parks, that could be #1 in the country. Transportation, #1 in the country. Development, #1 in the country. We can do that, but it's going to take a legislature and a county executive that looks towards the future and not the past.
Thank you. Donna Peyton?
That question for me would be, how do you feel about the contracts that are being approved and issued through Jackson County? Because I would want the residents to know that I am a proponent of changing the way that we handle contracts. I just don't believe that as a legislature, we have, and it was mentioned earlier, the amounts of money that are spent. I just don't think that we have the amount of time that we need to get input from the community, to examine other alternatives, to look at the project completely and totally, to put a fine-tooth comb to each budget line, to make sure that as the work begins, whatever that work is, that there is a commitment to honor diversity, that there is a commitment that the prevailing wage is being paid, and that we as a legislature are making the most informed possible decision. Thank you.
John Murphy?
What are things, one of the questions I wish I was asked is, what are the things the county has that you do differently with amenities? So the county has got the 3rd largest park system in the United States. They're beautiful parks. They're pristine. My son was a Boy Scout, and we would camp in them regularly and use all the amenities, but they're all pretty much out there. I would love to see the county partner with local municipalities, either Kansas City, Sugar Creek, Independence, Blue Springs, work on developing community centers or rec centers that are local to the people in the area that kids can walk to after school and play some basketball, play some football, get them off the streets, allow families to use it in a very cost-effective way. That should be part of a park system. And if the county would work with the local municipalities, it'd be a lot less money. That would be a great amenity for all families throughout Kansas City and Jackson County. Second biggest thing, the lack of economic development. We're in the geographic heart of the country. We've got a beautiful state. We've got amenities that many cities don't have. We've got an NFL team, a Major League Baseball team. We've got arts, we've got entertainment, we've got housing, we've got development. We got the ability to do a lot of different things. And I don't see the economic development. I don't know where it is and where it's been going on, but no one seems to be out there attracting companies here to fill our work needs. And if elected, I would be working on that full time. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidates, it's time for your 2-minute closing remarks. Take a moment, gather your thoughts. Thank you, audience, for your thought-provoking questions and your interest in this election. Remember, this forum will be archived in the League's website, lwvkc.org. Now for the candidates' closing remarks, we'll start with Donna Peyton, who has to leave for another meeting. You may begin.
Thank you so much. I first want to say how much I appreciate this opportunity, appreciate the voters that are taking the time to actually listen to us, to hear what we have to say. That is so important, and you are important to me as well. Your vote is so valuable. And while I cannot promise you the world, what I can promise you is that I have the work ethic that I will put in full force to represent you. I have an empathetic ear. I will listen. I will take you seriously. I promise you that. I have experience with budgets, working with the finance committee, working with the Raytown School Board. I understand boards and how boards work. I understand how important your voice is. And when I ask for your vote, I know I'm stepping out on faith and in hope, but I want you to know that you can trust me. I am trustworthy. I have a proven record of being so. And I understand as a citizen, as a union member, as a single mom, as someone that has a servant heart, is a continual learner. I understand. I understand how economics impact us. I understand how the environment impacts us. And I understand, once again, how valuable you are to what we do. So please vote Donna Peyton, November the 8th. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Jalen Anderson.
Well, I want to say again, thank you to the League of Women Voters for allowing me to speak, and my friends here who are also running to speak. It is crucial that we have forums and discussions so that all peoples throughout our Jackson County area can hear and listen to our ideas. Many of you know me. Many of you have interacted with me in different ways, shape, or form. We're now coming through this COVID, terrible time of COVID and this disease that has taken many of our loved ones, friends, even those that might have just been our neighbors. But we have come through that. We now have an opportunity to get back to what life was before, but more importantly, to make that better. You've seen my advocacy from unincorporated Jackson County, which Jackson County and the Jackson County Legislature have direct influence over. We can do more. We can expand more, invest more, but we need to work together. This is not just one individual, one legislator, not even just the county executive. It will take all of us as we move forward. From dealing with the tax assessment issues to dealing with our different contracts to making sure that we have the better schools, that we have union and focused jobs that bring good salaries to our citizens. We have worked together over the past 4 years. Did we get everything that we wanted? No, but we can keep striving to make our Jackson County community stronger and better. There's something that my grandmother always used to say. She said, Jalen, you can, you must, you will. And don't ever forget this. Don't ever forget, when you dedicate yourself to something, you have to put in 100%. And that's what I have done over the past 4 years. And I hope that you will give me the chance to another 4 years. I appreciate what we've been able to do, but let's get back to work. Thank you.
Thank you. John Murphy.
Again, thank you very much, the League of Women Voters, for hosting this. This is a great forum for voters and taxpayers to learn what the issues are. As I said before, 2019 was a disaster year for property tax assessments. The only person that could have stepped in and put a stop to it was Frank White. He didn't do it. In fact, he didn't even show up here tonight. And I'm hearing that 2023 is shaping up to be an even worse year tax assessment-wise. The thought that Frank is going to step in now and help, it's not happening. He does not have our best interests at heart. The county assessor's office is loaded for bear. They've staffed up. They've told the state to expect a record number of statewide appeals in a neighborhood of 60,000. That is a huge number. Frank and his cronies don't have your best interests in heart. The way to fix this is to elect me and allow us to put a cap on it, a cap for senior retirees, and a cap on it for everyone else. That is going to keep families and the elderly in their home. We cannot have grandma thrown out in the street. In terms of amenities, I'm willing to work with the city and the municipalities to expand the park system to put in community rec centers for people. so people can actually walk to these rec centers in their neighborhood. They don't have to journey far. And this would be a great thing for building communities and for families. In terms of law and order, I'm looking around the country, the state, the city, the county, and it seems to be a lack of respect for law and order, particularly from a lot of elected officials. While I don't have any direct responsibility for the enforcement of laws, I would back our sheriff's department, our first responders, making sure that they have everything they need to do their jobs. And when they need backup, I'm willing to back them up. Thank you very much. It's time to vote for a change. It's time for them to go vote for me in November. Thank you very much. I'm John Murphy.
Thank you, candidates, for your willingness to participate in this forum. Remember, a recording of this forum will be available soon on the League website. Audience, please take time to share the insight you have gained tonight with your family and friends. Be sure to get to the polls and vote on Tuesday, November 8th. Thank you and good night.